thank you for joining us as we conclude this two-part exploration of the BTK serial killer. If you haven't listened to the first episode, we recommend doing so before proceeding. We also welcome your input. If you know of an intriguing cold case that was eventually solved and you'd like us to cover it, please visit criminalisted.com to suggest cases. You can also recommend cases for our 2 YouTube channels, currently listed under Paranormally Listed. The killer, who identified himself as BTK, an acronym for Bind, Torture, Kill, murdered 10 people between 1994 and 1999 in Wichita and Park City, Kansas. His first victims were 4 members of the Otero family: 38-year-old Joseph, 33-year-old Julie, 11-year-old Josephine, and 9-year-old Joey. All were strangled or suffocated in their home on January 15, 1974. A few months later, on April 4th, he murdered 21-year-old Catherine Bright with a stabbing. 3 years after Catherine's death, on March 17, 1977, he strangled Shirley Vienne. Nearly 9 months later, on December 8th, he claimed the life of 25-year-old Nancy Jo Fox, again through strangulation. After a pause of over a year, he killed 53-year-old Maureen Hedge on April 27, 1985. Over a year later, on September 16, 1986, he murdered Vicki Len Wegerle by strangulation. He then took another break lasting 4.5 years, during which he murdered 62-year-old Dolores Davies in 1991, again by strangulation. During this period, authorities remained unaware that the same individual was responsible for the last 3 murders, and no investigations were conducted into the initial 7. The DNA testing task force that could have linked the cases was disbanded in 1986. This brings us to January of 2004, marking the 30th anniversary of the Otero murders. On January 3, 2004, radio host Casey Kasem retired from hosting American Top 40, a show he had led for over 3 decades. The following week, British doctor Harold Shipman, a notorious serial killer, was found dead in his prison cell. Serving a life sentence for murdering 15 patients, he was believed to have killed around 250 individuals over his career. He had hanged himself at age 57. On January 14, 2004, the top song on the Billboard charts was Hey Ya by Outkast, a hip-hop duo. Interestingly, only one member, Andre Tisici, performed and wrote the song. The highest-grossing film that week was the final installment of The Lord of the Rings trilogy, The Return of the King, which earned over $1 billion worldwide. In the global box office, a film earned over $1 billion and became the second highest-grossing movie of its time. It also secured all 11 Academy Awards for which it was nominated. On the 30th anniversary of the Otero murders, the Wichita Eagle published an article detailing the brutal quadruple slayings. Police hoped that increased publicity might attract BTK's attention, but after a month, there was no contact from him. This absence strengthened their belief that he was likely dead, possibly imprisoned or removed from the area. Around the same period, a hotel lawyer named Bob Body planned to write a book about BTK. News of his intentions appeared in a newsletter for retired police officers. On March 18, 2004, just one day after the 27th anniversary of Shirley Vienne's murder, the Wichita Eagle received a disturbing letter accompanied by photocopied images. One photo showed Vicki Wegerle's driver's license, while the other 3 depicted her dead body. In the letter, the author claimed responsibility for Vicky's murder. A reporter took the letter and photographs to the police. The envelope's return address was Phil Thomas Kilman, with an address on Old Manor Street in Wichita, near the Otero house. The name seemed a deliberate choice, as it matched BTK's initials, and the Old Manor Street location was just a block away from the crime scene. Authorities found this communication intriguing because Vicky Wager Lee was not previously considered a victim of BTK. In the midst of a limited-time offer, a significant discount of $50 was announced, urging customers not to miss this rare opportunity. Uncommon Goods, known for their extraordinary selections, stood out by offering items that defied the ordinary. Then, on the 19th anniversary of Maureen Hedges' body being discovered, a chilling new letter arrived at Cake TV. This message was presented on a single page bearing the words, "The BTK Story," while the second page listed chapter titles, one titled, "The Serial Killer and Born," followed by Dawn, Fish, Fantasy World, The Search Begins, BTK's Hands, PJs, Mo ID Ruse, Hits, Treasured Memories, Final Current Call, Dusk, and a final note indicating more chapters to come. The last page featured a photocopy of a wallet containing 2 employee cards, one from Southwestern Bell and another from Wichita Public Schools Special Officers, along with a third page labeled Chapter Vosum, which displayed a puzzle of vertical letters. It was unclear whether this communication was genuinely from BTK, as he often drew logos in his messages, and this note lacked details about his crimes. Bob Beatty suspected that the letter was not authored by BTK himself, and believed it was written by someone named Petey, who had previously encouraged BTK to contact investigators. In early June, a letter penned by Petey appeared in the Wichita Eagle. 3 days later, a man driving through downtown Wichita discovered a taped bag attached to a stop sign. Inside, he found a brown envelope, which he took and discarded the bag. Upon examining the envelope, he saw it was labeled BTK Field Graham and contained 3 typewritten pages. He handed the envelope and its contents over to the police. One of these pages repeated the chapter list from the earlier letter, but notably, Chapter Vosum, Mo ID Ruse, was blacked out. Another page bore the title, C1, Death on the Cold January Morning, offering a detailed account of the murders of the Otero family. The writer described the killer as a man, referring to himself as Rags, and included a disturbing drawing of a naked woman bound and gagged, captioned, "The sexual thrill is." Many readers felt the account resembled poorly written crime fiction. Additionally, the note contained a drawing of a woman in a similar state of restraint. Over the following months, BTK continued to leave envelopes around Wichita, often containing chapters from his book, The BTK Story, or Puzzles and Drawings. Fortunately, he had not resumed killing, but authorities remained deeply concerned that another murder was imminent. They desperately sought to identify him before anyone else was harmed. To aid their investigation, police compiled a list of facts BTK had provided about himself, though they could not confirm their accuracy. Even if only some details were true, recognizing any of them could lead to his identification. On November 30th, law enforcement issued a public statement revealing the information obtained from BTK's communications. According to Carlton Smith's book, The BTK Murders, Inside the By-Torture-Kill Case That Terrorized America's Heartland, the killer claimed to have been born in 1939, which would make him around 64 or 65 years old at that time. Dennis Rader's early life was marked by tragedy and modest beginnings. His father was killed during World War II, leaving his mother to raise him alone. Due to her need to work, especially near the railroad, his grandparents often cared for him during his childhood. His mother's job required her to work during the day, and his family frequently moved, always staying close to railway lines. His grandfather was a fiddler who eventually died of a lung disease, and his mother later became a railroad detective. Around the age of 11, between 1950 and 1955, Rader built and operated a ham radio, engaging in outdoor hobbies such as fishing, hunting, and camping. He attended church regularly and participated in Sunday school. During this period, he had a Hispanic female friend named Petra, who had a younger sister named Tina. From 1960, Rader enrolled in a technical military school before joining the armed forces, serving until 1966. He possessed basic skills in photography, including developing and printing pictures. In 1966, Rader recalled a time when his mother, who had remarried, was renting part of her home. His first job was as an electromechanic, which involved some travel. After further technical training, he began repairing copiers and business equipment, often traveling for work, which kept him away from home for long stretches. Despite his professional pursuits, Rader harbored a lifetime fascination with railroads and trains, a passion that would later contribute to his criminal activities. Rader's obsession with trains led him to leave packages and envelopes around Wichita, one of which contained a doll tied with a yellow robe. Included in another package was Nancy Jo Foxy's driver's license. On January 8, 2005, Rader discarded a cereal box in a pickup truck parked at a Home Depot, but the owner apparently didn't notice. A detective later learned that an employee had found the box and discarded it in the trash. The police retrieved the box from the dumpster, discovering inside a printed note asking, "Can I communicate with floppy and not be traced?" Rader wanted to know if he could use a floppy disk to communicate without being caught. The police decided to deceive Rader. On January 28, 2005, they posted a fake classified ad saying, "Rex, it'll be okay," implying they could trace messages via floppy disks. About 2 weeks later, on February 16th, Rader sent an envelope containing a floppy disk to a TV station. Inside, an RTF file was found, with properties indicating it was created by someone associated with Christ Lutheran Church. An internet search revealed that a 59-year-old man named Dennis Rader was the church's president. Who was Dennis Rader? He was not a suspect at the time. Born on March 9, 1945 in Columbus, a small town in southeastern Kansas, Rader was the eldest of 4 boys. He was baptized into the Lutheran Church as a child. His family later moved to Wichita. As a boy, Rader joined the Boy Scouts and appeared to be an average student, often withdrawn. Unbeknownst to others, he harbored dark fantasies that began developing in grade school, including bondage and torture. He also killed neighborhood cats and dogs by strangulation. During high school, Rader worked in a supermarket. He graduated in 1963 and attended Kansas Wesleyan College in Selin, where he joined a fraternity. However, he began breaking into homes and stealing small items. His academic performance was poor, leading him to drop out after a year. He then returned to Wichita. At 21, Rader enlisted in the military. beginning a chapter of his life that would eventually intertwine with his hidden darkness. During his service in the United States Air Force, Dennis Rader was stationed in Japan, Korea, Greece, and Turkey, completing his duties in 1970. Despite the extensive travels, nothing particularly notable stood out during his 4 years of military service, apart from his time as a raider. After finishing his military career, he returned to Wichita, where he began dating a young woman named Paula Deves, a fellow Lutheran who had attended the same high school, LCM. They married on May 22, 1971, when Rader was 26 and Paula was 23. The couple settled in Park City, where Tyler enrolled at Butler County Community College in El Dorado, Colorado, studying electronics. While attending college, Rader worked in the meat department of a local supermarket. In 1972, he took a job at Coleman, a company where Julia Ortega and Catherine Bright also worked. He remained there for 13 months. By 1973, Rader had graduated from Butler County Community College. That same year, he began working at Cessna, a manufacturer of small aircraft, where he gained experience and connections. During 1973, Rader also started attending night classes at Wichita State University, majoring in criminal justice. His academic performance was poor, especially in spelling and grammar, which delayed his graduation. It took him 6 years to complete his degree. Later, in 1973, Rader was laid off from Cessna, shortly after which the Otero family was tragically murdered. In 1974, Rader found employment with ADT Security Systems, installing home security systems. Ironically, many of these clients were individuals who feared BTK, the nickname later associated with him. In July of 1975, Paula gave birth to their first child, Brian, roughly a year after the murder of Catherine Bright, and 2 years before Shirley Vianney's death in June of 1979. The couple's second child, Carrie, was born around this time. During this period, BTK remained dormant for several years. In 1985, Maureen Hodge, who lived just a few doors down from the Raiders, was kidnapped and murdered. By 1988, Rader had left ADT Security Systems. He was not fired, but was advised by his supervisor to seek employment elsewhere. He then became a compliance officer for the 1990 federal census in Kansas. In spring of 1991, Rader took a job as a dog catcher in Park City, a role that earned him a reputation for being overly strict and vindictive. For example, he once euthanized a dog belonging to a woman whose marriage was ending, after she had started dating someone else. Throughout his life, Rader was deeply involved in his community as a devout Lutheran and a Boy Scout leader. The police were stunned when they discovered that someone like Dennis Rader could be BTK, the notorious serial killer. To link him definitively to the murders, authorities relied on DNA evidence. They obtained a familial match by comparing DNA from a pap smear found in the medical records of Rader's daughter with the DNA profile of BTK. On February 25, 2005, police stopped Rader while he was driving his role as a compliance officer. Confronted with the DNA evidence, he confessed to being BTK during the interrogation. He discovered him through a floppy disk and was deeply offended that the investigators had lied to him. The perpetrator then provided a detailed confession spanning 32 hours over 3 days. He explained that his victims' projects were called Oteros, and that he first encountered them during a period of unemployment. It was winter, and his wife disliked driving in bad weather, so he would take her to work, which is when he saw the family. When he broke into their house, he did not expect Joseph Otero to be there. He claimed he was an escape convict and desperate, initially attempting to kill Joseph and Julie. His first attack was on them. Then he tried to kill Joey, but Julie survived and witnessed Rader murdering her youngest son. Rader then returned and murdered Julie, later taking Joey into another room and suffocating him. Afterward, he took Josephine to the basement, telling her she would be in heaven with her family that night. He hung her and masturbated as he watched her die. Catherine Bright lived near the university. Rader had noticed her while driving to class and broke into her house, waiting for her to return. He was surprised when she came home with her brother. He said that the situation spiraled out of control, leading him to stab Catherine to escape quickly. He also admitted that Shirley Vienne was not his initial intended victim that day. He had wanted to kill another woman he met at a club near the university, but she was not home. When he went to kill her, a waiter saw Shirley's son wandering nearby and spoke to him. Rader then followed the boy to his home. He left 3 children in the bathroom and killed Shirley Vienne, considering killing her children, but deciding against it because they said someone was coming over soon. He believed the ringing phone confirmed an imminent visitor, prompting him to flee. Rader admitted to stalking Nancy Fox for weeks. On the night of her murder, he told his wife he was going to the campus library to write a term paper. Instead, he broke into Fox's duplex and waited for her to come home. Fox was surprisingly calm when she encountered him. She told him to leave, but he refused, insisting he wouldn't until he took photos of her. She asked for a cigarette and to use the bathroom, repeatedly calling him sick. Ultimately, he strangled her with a belt. Maureen Hodge, his neighbor, was murdered on a night when Rader had taken a group of Boy Scouts camping. While they slept, he broke into her house and strangled her to death. He then transported her body to his church's basement, where he dressed her in different clothes and shoes, using props and taking 30 Polaroid photographs. Afterward, he discarded her body, retrieved his car, and returned to the Boy Scout camp. No one noticed his actions, although he had laughed while working. As an appliance officer, he encountered Vicky Wegerly, which drew attention. He stalked her for several weeks and broke into her home when he knew her husband was away, but she warned him that her husband would be returning soon. Dennis Rader, also known as the BTK killer, once contemplated killing your husband, but ultimately decided the risk was too great. Instead, he began targeting older women, believing they would be easier to control physically. Using a Boy Scout camp as an alibi, Rader murdered Dolores Davis in her home, then moved her body into her car. He later took photographs of her corpse in a barn or silo, choosing a nearby bridge he thought suitable for his macabre scenes. After capturing several images, he returned to the camp, which served as a base for a multi-day camping trip. On the following night, Rader sneaked away again, revisited the body, and placed a mask on the decaying corpse, taking more photos. Rader revealed that when he was not killing, he would wear costumes or masks, tie himself up, and photograph himself. He recounted an incident during a Boy Scout trip where he tied himself so tightly that he nearly couldn't free himself in time. On February 28, 2005, the 59-year-old Rader was formally charged with 10 counts of murder. By June 27th that year, he pleaded guilty to all 10 murders, speaking only about the crimes and his feelings, without offering any apologies. On August 18, 2005, Rader received consecutive life sentences with a minimum of 175 years. As of this recording, he is incarcerated at the El Dorado Correctional Facility in Butler County, Kansas. A question many ask is why Rader resumed communication with authorities. It is believed he was intrigued by Bobby's plans to write a book and sought to re-enter the limelight. Rader, who worked at City Hall, likely had access to a retired police officer's newsletter, which discussed Bobby's intentions to publish a book titled Nightmare Wichita. This book, released in April 2005, became a bestseller. Thank you for listening to this episode. We hope you found it engaging. Please stay tuned for future updates and explore our channels for more content. That's all for today. We appreciate your attention and wish you a safe and happy New Year.